Jordan Peterson is always so great at articulating his position so well, and I think many people understand what he says at a very fundamental level. I really do. I understand everything he says, but I can't articulate it in the same way that he can. In some way, I know what he's talking about, and I agree with him on many, many issues, but he has this talent, this gift to zone in on the crucial detail, focus in on it, and explain it so well and draw on a wide range of topics. And I think he does that here. That's why I find this point so compelling and brilliant. I hope you enjoy.
Well, that's why Christ says to people that they have to become as little children, not stay. Right? You have to rediscover that.
Rediscover the joy of it. Yeah,
but also kids are good for that too, aren't they? Because they teach you that again.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the world through eyes of memory by the time you're an adult. So the world loses its freshness. That's part of the world loses its freshness because you see your memories instead of the world.
Right.
And then kids come along and you think, oh yeah, that's really actually quite interesting. And they're so compelled by everything because their perceptions are so fresh that they share that with you, and that can help reawaken that spirit of childhood play, let's say. I've been thinking a lot about play in the last year or so.
Yeah.
Well, I spent a lot of time trying to take apart the causes of like truly pathological degeneration, right? On the sadistic side, on the criminal side, on the totalitarian side. Very curious about tyranny. And it was very difficult for me to conceptualize the opposite of that as cleanly as I could characterize its presence. Like, what's the opposite of tyranny? It's not freedom, by the way. It's certainly not anarchic freedom. It's not hedonistic freedom.
Benevolence?
I think it's play.
Play.
I think it's play.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
that makes sense.
Well, the developmental psychologist Jean Piaget, one of the things he pointed out was that so let's say play is the foundation of micro-community, right? When you're a little kid, you play a game with another kid. And then if that works well, you inhabit a little dyadic community. You're both in it together. And then if it really works, you replicate that across time, and that gives you a friend. But play is it's very interesting psychologically and psychobiologically because it has to be entered in voluntarily. You can't force someone to play. And it's also motivationally fragile. So mammals have a play circuit, and it can be disrupted by pretty much any other motivational or emotional circuit. So the circumstances have to be set up properly. Like the walled garden, you know that idea?
Mm-hmm.
The walled garden is a place that play can take place, like eternally, so to speak. And because it has to be undertaken voluntarily, it's the opposite of tyranny. And my wife and I have really started to apply this in our marriage more consciously. You know, once I'd figured out this relationship, because I've been lecturing to people for a long time about how to conduct themselves in life so they don't become a tyrant or a handmaiden to the tyrants, right? A silent handmaiden to the tyrants, let's say. And aiming at play. You know, when we walked in here today, one of the things we said was, let's have some fun, you know? Yeah. And I've been thinking this morning too about what attitude I should take coming in to talk to you. And there isn't a better attitude than play. And I think it is because it's the antithesis of tyranny in particular. And then you were talking more about mature play. And that's that good, you know, that also makes sense. This is the issue with the idea that adulthood isn't any fun. It's like, well, do you want to play a simple game? Or do you want to play a really sophisticated game really well? Now, that's going to require some discipline and some training and some maturation, but the payoff is much higher. That's a good way to conceptualize marriage.